In the unforgiving depths of the Ural Mountains, a chilling enigma lies frozen in time. A group of skilled hikers venturing into the icy unknown only to meet their gruesome demise. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a mystery that has evaded answers for decades. But what if the sinister truth behind their deaths was buried deep beneath a web of deception? Welcome to the Talekeepers, where today we unravel the twisted secrets behind one of the most baffling unsolved mysteries of the modern era. Through the tireless efforts of a retired police officer named Yuri, we'll journey into the heart of a conspiracy that entangles the Soviet government, secret nuclear tests, and a chilling weapon of mass hallucination, as we learn more about the disturbing link between the Ural Polytechnic Institute and the hikers who died. We'll see how far people in power will go to protect their darkest goals. Are you prepared to face the shocking revelations that shook the world and haunted those who knew the truth? Join us as we expose the sinister truth behind the Dyatlov Pass incident and dare to ask the question, just how far will some go to achieve their goals? Hold on tight, this chilling tale is about to begin. There were 9 people in the hiking group, and all of them were experienced and very good at hiking and mountaineering. They were excited for the adventure that awaited them, but little did they know that they were about to embark on a journey that would haunt them forever. As they made their way up the mountain, the weather began to worsen. The wind picked up, and it started to snow heavily, making it hard to see and hard to move through the dangerous terrain. The group decided to set up camp for the night and wait for the weather to clear. The hikers pitched their tent in a sheltered spot and settled in for the night. But as the hours passed, something strange began to happen. One by one, the hikers began to feel a sense of unease and fear, as though something was watching them from the darkness outside the tent. Despite their growing unease, the hikers tried to reassure each other and stay calm, but their fears only continued to grow as the night wore on, and they began to hear strange noises outside the tent. It sounded like something was moving around, sniffing and scratching at the walls of their shelter. Finally, the tension became too much to bear, and the hikers decided to cut their way out of the tent and flee into the darkness. But what they found outside was even more terrifying than anything they could have imagined. The snow was stained red with blood, and the hikers' footprints led in different directions, as though they had been running from something. As the search for the missing hikers began, the true horror of the situation became clear. The bodies of the hikers were found all over the snowy landscape. Some of the bodies had serious injuries, while others showed no signs of trauma. One hiker's tongue was missing, while another had a fractured skull. Some of the hikers were found wearing only their underwear, despite the freezing temperatures. The investigation into the Dyatlov Pass incident yielded no clear answers. Some people believed that a wild animal had attacked the hikers, while others thought that a rogue military operation had killed them. But as the years went by, the mystery only deepened. To this day, no one knows what really happened on that fateful night in 1959. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries of our time, a haunting reminder of the dangers that lurk in the darkness and the unknown forces that can strike at any moment. As the years passed, the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident only grew more complex. Theories abound, with some suggesting that the hikers had been attacked by a group of military operatives, while others believed that they had fallen victim to a supernatural force. But it wasn't until the 1990s that a group of amateur investigators made a startling discovery. They found evidence of radiation on some of the hikers' clothing, suggesting that the Soviet government had been conducting secret nuclear tests in the area. When the news came out, people became interested in the case again, and investigators started digging deeper into how the hikers died. They combed through old documents and conducted interviews with witnesses, trying to piece together a timeline of events. But the more they dug, the more confusing the case became. The hikers' injuries were inconsistent with any known predator attack, and the fact that some of the hikers were found in their underwear only added to the mystery. Then, in 2019, a new theory emerged. a group of Russian scientists studied the area around Dyatlov Pass. They used computer simulations to try to figure out what the weather was like on that fateful night. Their conclusion was shocking. The hikers had likely been killed by a freak weather event. According to the study, a sudden and intense windstorm had swept through the area, producing a phenomenon known as a Kármán vortex street. This occurs when wind flows around an object, causing alternating vortices of air to form behind it. In the case of the hikers, the windstorm created a series of vortices that were strong enough to lift them off the ground and slam them into nearby rocks and trees. While the theory may seem far-fetched, it does explain some of the bizarre details of the case. The hikers' injuries might have resulted from the ferocious winds, and their hasty decision to cut their way out of the tent might have been an effort to flee the vortex. But even with this new theory, the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident remains unsolved. The exact circumstances of the hikers' deaths may never be known, and the case will likely continue to fascinate and haunt people for years to come. As the investigation into the Dyatlov Pass incident continues, one thing is clear. The human fascination with the unknown and the unexplained will always drive us to seek answers, no matter how elusive they may be. Yuri's investigation into the Dyatlov Pass incident consumed him. He spent all of his time awake reading old papers, talking to witnesses, and analyzing the evidence. As he dug deeper, he began to uncover a sinister truth that went far beyond anything he could have imagined. Yuri found out that the Soviet government was doing secret tests in the area around the Dyatlov Pass. The experiments involved a new weapon that caused intense hallucinations and disorientation and was designed to incapacitate enemy soldiers without killing them. But something had gone wrong. The hikers had stumbled upon the test site by accident, and the government agents in charge of the operation had decided to silence them to keep their experiment a secret. As Yuri dove deeper into the conspiracy, he uncovered evidence of a cover-up that went all the way to the top of the Soviet government. The hikers were students at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, which was involved in the operation. The hikers were chosen for the trip because they were known to be curious and independent. The more Yuri learned, the more dangerous his investigation became. He knew that the truth would likely get him killed, but he couldn't stop now. He compiled all his evidence and sent it to a trusted journalist, hoping that the truth would finally come to light. But the government wasn't willing to let the truth be known. Yuri was found dead in his apartment shortly after the journalist's exposé was published, and many believed that he had been killed to keep him from revealing any more of the conspiracy. Despite the danger, the journalist continued to pursue the story. They found more proof that the government was doing secret experiments, and the news spread around the world. The Soviet government had to admit the truth, and the hikers' families were finally able to find peace. But for those who knew the real story, the haunting legacy of the cover-up continued. The Dyatlov Pass incident remained a chilling reminder of the lengths some will go to keep their darkest secrets hidden. As time went on, the full scope of the conspiracy became clear, and the world was forced to face the dark truth behind one of the most puzzling, unsolved mysteries of our time. And while the truth may have been difficult to swallow, it was a necessary reminder that the darkest secrets are often the ones that we most need to uncover. Yuri's investigation into the Dyatlov Pass incident had uncovered a web of lies and conspiracies that went far beyond anything he had initially imagined. The Soviet government's secret experiments were just the tip of the iceberg, and Yuri soon realized that the Ural Polytechnic Institute, where the hikers were students, was also involved in the cover-up. Yuri's investigation found proof that the institute had been watching and recording the hikers' every move and keeping track of where they went. Secrecy, and the institute had been tasked with keeping them under control. Yuri's investigation uncovered evidence that the institute had been monitoring the hikers' every move, recording their conversations and tracking their movements. The hikers had been unknowingly lured into a trap, and when they stumbled upon the government's secret experiments, the institute had been ordered to keep them silent at all costs. But as Yuri continued to dig, he realized that the institute's involvement in the conspiracy went even deeper. In their search for knowledge and power, they had taken part in the experiments themselves and used the hikers as unwitting test subjects. The revelation was shocking, and Yuri knew that he had to act fast to bring the truth to light. He compiled all his evidence and sent it to the journalist who had helped him before, hoping that this time the truth would be too big to ignore. The story broke worldwide, and the Ural Polytechnic Institute was forced to acknowledge its involvement in the cover-up. The hikers' families finally got some answers, and the rest of the world had to face how big the government's secret experiments really were. But the revelation came at a cost. Yuri had known that his investigation would put his life in danger, but he had never imagined just how far the government and the institute would go to keep their secrets hidden. He was found dead in his apartment shortly after the story broke, and many believed that he had been killed to keep him from revealing any more of the conspiracy. Even though it was dangerous, the journalist kept working on the story and found more proof that the institute was involved in the experiments. And while the truth was difficult to swallow, it was a necessary reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the length some will go to keep their darkest secrets hidden. As the world came to grips with the shocking truth behind the Dyatlov Pass incident, the families of the hikers were left to grapple with the haunting legacy of the cover-up. And while the investigation had finally brought some answers, it also served as a chilling reminder of the fragility of truth and the dangers of those who seek to hide it. Despite the shocking revelations that came to light through the journalist's exposé, the legacy of the Dyatlov Pass incident continued to haunt those who knew the truth. Many people believed that the government or the institute had silenced Yuri because there had never been a complete explanation for his disappearance. The families of the hikers were left to grapple with the truth of what had happened to their loved ones, and the knowledge that they had been used as unwitting test subjects in a sinister government experiment. The revelation had brought some measure of closure, but it had also reopened old wounds and left many unanswered questions. As the world grappled with the shocking truth of the cover-up, it served as a stark reminder of the terrifying power of secrecy and the dangers of those who seek to keep the truth hidden. The Dyatlov Pass incident had become a symbol of the darkest impulses of those in power, a warning of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the length some will go to achieve their goals. But even in the midst of the darkness, there was hope. The journalist who had broken the story had become a hero to those who sought the truth, a symbol of the power of perseverance and the importance of fighting for what is right. And while the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident may never be fully solved, it serves as a reminder that the truth will always find a way to come to light, no matter how hard some may try to keep it hidden. The haunting memory of the Dyatlov Pass incident will continue to fascinate and scare people for many years to come. This is a sign of the power of the unknown and of people's fascination with things that can't be explained. But in the end, it is the search for truth that will endure, a reminder of the power of the human spirit to overcome even the darkest of secrets. As we descend from the sinister peaks of the Dyatlov Pass, the chilling truth still echoes in our minds. If this haunting tale sent shivers down your spine, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Tale Keepers for more terrifying mysteries lurking in the shadows. Do you have your own spine-tingling paranormal encounters or spine-chilling stories? Share them in the comments below, and your ghastly experience might just be featured in our next blood-curdling adventure. Until then, remember, the truth is out there, waiting to be unearthed. Sweet nightmares, dear viewers.